On today's episode, Be an Awesome Superhero with Shane O'Neill. I chat with Shane, the founder of FatDaddyFitness. He works with dads to be the superhero that our kids think we are, to be the superhero that we need to be for ourselves and our family. Just a heads up, there is a lot of swearing in this episode. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. If you take all the swearing from every other previous episode, there's still more in this episode. Just that is my disclaimer. So if you are out in public or wherever, just be warned. I hope you enjoy it. What's up, losers? I am Luke, and this is Luke Loses. Remember, we are losing the weight, we are losing the unhealthy lifestyle, and we're losing that negative image we have for ourselves. Please remember, I have no fitness or nutrition education. Everything I talk about is from asking people questions, searching the internet, and my own personal experiences. You can reach out to me at the loser line. It is 323-920-LUKE or 5853. Call that number, leave me a voicemail, shoot it a text, topic idea, tip, concern, whatever's on your mind. Send it there, call it there. I'll make sure to talk about it in a future episode. You can also go to my website, www.lukelosespodcast.com. That's got my social media as well as platforms. You can listen to this podcast, and you can listen to it directly off the website. If you could go over to Apple Podcast and leave me a rating and a review, I would appreciate it so much, and it would do so much for the podcast. As well as sharing the podcast. If you have friends or family or somebody you know that could benefit from what I'm talking about, send them the podcast, share it on your Facebook, tag me on Instagram, or if you know somebody who would make a great guest that would add value to myself or the other listeners, send them my way. I'd love to talk with them. The music you're hearing right now is by Jake Simmons and the Little Ghosts. Check them out. I will link all their locations in the description. Going to go ahead and jump right into the episode. I'm really excited about it. I speak to Shane O'Neill, and like I said in the intro, there is a lot of swearing in this episode, so just be prepared. It's a lot more than I normally have. I just want to give you guys a heads up, just in case you weren't prepared for it. Let's get into it. All right, so on today's episode, I have Shane O'Neill. He is the founder of FatDaddyFitness. Shane, why don't you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, happy to, Luke. Hello. As Luke just said, my name is Shane. I created FatDaddyFitness, which is a free Facebook group for dads. It is specifically aimed at being a little bit different to a lot of the help that's out there and available for dads on Facebook. So there's a lot of groups which are mainly riddled with coaches, but there's not much help there. They seem to be alternating between big before and after photos and also a lot of kind of pedestals for coaches to show off how awesome and incredible they are. But there's not much actual help going on. And if it is, it's kind of cultivated towards finance and all the rest. So this basically is a group where once a week we take a couple of dads in the group and we do a fix. So we take a couple of the dads and we say, all right, where are you holding yourself back? What's your limiting factor? What do you want to achieve and what's stopping you? And then we feature them in a live fix video. And then we give them stuff that they can actually implement like straight away into their life. And then we check up on them the next week and we see how they're doing. And that's basically what I'm all about. That's what FatDaddyFitness is.
I like that. I'm in the group and I follow a lot of the stuff that you do. Like I know you've got your podcast that you release like your audio and all that on. And one thing I've noticed with all the stuff that you post, it's it's in your description, no BS, and that's exactly what I feel with you. There's no bullshit. It feels like you attack the fake of the fitness community. I've talked about this plenty of times with other coaches. The fitness community is really flawed, and it's a huge money making deal for a lot of the coaches, and I hate that. But everybody in the world has tried to lose weight, so it is a huge market to have these sharks come in and just say, I'm here, give me your money and I can help you lose weight. It's nice seeing you kind of butt heads with all that. With your no bullshit approach, there was this post that said, have you ever considered that the fitness industry is built for making money than rather help people change? And you said, if you have, you're right. I mean, that's spot on. Like I've said with, I think every coach that I've talked to on here, we've brought that up, as how there's certain people that are really want to help people get healthy and really want them to make a change. And then there's the huge amount of people that are on here that will send you the DM out of the fitness groups, be like, you're doing good, but if you pay me this, I can help you do better. And I do love your no bullshit approach, because that's one thing for me, sugarcoating. For the longest time, I would tell myself, this or that, and I would sugarcoat it to where I didn't really have a problem. Obviously I do, because I was 400 pounds.
It's interesting what you were saying about the coaches that you've spoken to. And if you do speak to a coach, a lot of the time you'll find that they're people, they're real guys, real girls. They genuinely have a desire to help. And even the guys, I'll even go this far, even the guys that slide into the DMs, they're coming from a place where they think is the right place to come from. It's just that they've been taught. They are a product, just like the productization of fat loss, which is an absolute absurdity in and of itself. Everyone can do it themselves. It's just a case of learning how to do it and implement it into their own lives. But these guys, these coaches, they are as much a product of this industry as the actual products themselves. So like when I first did my personal training qualification, it's got to be 17 years ago now, the very first one, and it was a very, very small course. And even now it's a very low entrance into the industry. You can become a coach for, in 6 weeks. At the end of the course, there was this little bit of a business model that they taught you what to do. And this still stands today. Like I went a couple of years ago, I was going through a process of mentoring some younger coaches and bringing them into the industry and all the rest. And talking to them, I was absolutely jaw-dropped to find that the same model was being taught in a completely different country to a completely new generation. But the same stuff is being taught. And the business model is this. You bring someone on for a limited amount of time, a number of weeks, whatever it is, and you put them on such a course of action that is guaranteed to give them results, guaranteed. And the only way to guarantee that is to go to the extreme. And the thing about going to the extreme is it's not maintainable. You can't drive around in your car in first gear, red line, by getting around like a moped. It's just not gonna last. And if something's extreme, it's unsustainable. And then what happens is they finish your program, they achieve what they wanted to achieve, but because of the nature of the guidance you've given them, these coaches, they can't maintain it on their own. They also don't learn anything through the process either. And then they go back, they end up undoing everything they've achieved with you. So you perpetually create, this business model is great because it's a great business model because you perpetually create a pool of ready to buy people who need help. They were never helped. It's a great business model. It's fantastic, but it's a shit way. It's not coaching.
Yeah.
And these guys are taught this straight out the fucking gates. They said, this is how you do it. This is how you help people. And the real shitty part. And I mean, I know, and I really appreciate that you referenced that, like my no bullshit approach, Luke, because I get fucking angry at this shit. Like it's a shitty way to do it. And it's very hard to find the actual cause, without going, man, what the fuck are you doing,
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel quite passionate about because it's so, the actual answer, the actual science of losing weight is really straightforward, but it's simple and easy aren't the same thing. Like you could climb you could, I was going to say Carrantoul is the tallest mountain in Ireland. You could climb Mount Everest. No one's going to know that, but you could climb Mount Everest, right? Much bigger mountain. Only a little bit really, but you could climb Mount Everest, and it's really fucking simple, man. You keep going up until there's no more up, but that doesn't make it easy, right? It's the complexity that's the hard part. It's getting it and finding out what makes someone tick and how you can implement the basic fundamentals of weight loss to their highly complex and specialized lifestyle. That's the nuance of it, and it can't be done in a fucking 6-week course with a meal plan and a diet.
So touching on that, like for me, I've always been able to lose weight. Anytime I've tried, I've been able to shed it. My story, I've lost over 400 pounds in the past 7 years, but it's all come back every time. That's the part for me that I've had the hardest time with, because, I'll get lazy, or I'll get to the point where I'm like, I'm happy. I'm good now. I don't need to, continue this diet or whatever. And I restrict my calories so much, I'm doing like 1,200 calories a day, burning 1,700 is what I used to do. And it works. That weight falls off. I lost 100 pounds in 6 months.
Wow.
I gained like 130 pounds back in a year and a half. This time around, I've really looked at the head, my head of it, because it is a mental struggle as well as, the eating right and diet. You posted a picture of an iceberg recently, and talking about all the little things with it, what you see and what's underneath. And I love that analogy with the weight loss and, diet and exercise and everything. But with the one that you posted, there was so much more in it. It wasn't just what you see up here is your exercise and what you see down here is your diet. Like it was everything in between. And I love that. And I feel much more confident with this time trying to lose the weight, knowing that I have to get my head right, than I have any other time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's everything. Mindset. I mean, the iceberg thing is really interesting, because the way that I kind of think about it, if we take that analogy and then do like a double analogy. So if we think, and I love analogies, right? If you imagine, like you said there, right, when what we see is the exercise. So if we see someone who's training hard, we see them come into the gym, we see them enter the gym, and we see them train hard, sweating hard, and then they leave. It's like, that guy's doing awesome. But right up until the moment he entered the gym, you had no idea what he had to do to get there. It takes a lot. Getting into that mindset of taking action to better yourself is something that it should be easy, right? It should be easy. It should be easy, but it's not. And I think mindset is massive. Like you mentioned, the mindset is huge. Like I love thinking about the very definition of mindset, right? So mindset, I can't remember where or who said this, but I really can identify it. I think it might have been Paul Mort, actually. Your mindset is a set of beliefs and assumptions that you hold to so strongly that it actually subconsciously, or your actions subconsciously adhere to it. So like, if you believe something so strongly and you assume it, then you'll carry that into every action and interaction and situation that you have every day. So if you believe that I can't keep the weight off, it's like, that's what's going to manifest.
Yeah.
Even if it's subconscious, but I love the fact that you, like you did this, like 400, what did you say? 400 pounds.
Yeah. I've lost over 400 pounds in 7 years at different times, like I lose 100 pounds here, 130 here, 40 here. And it never sticks.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do it. Like you said, like the simple and easy. I've talked about this plenty of times before. To lose weight, you just have to, calorie deficit, exercise, you'll be all right. But the one thing that I never really looked at was how to maintain. I've never been able to, how am I supposed to stay at this weight? Maybe add muscle, but I'm a binge eater. I'm an overeater. I'm a food addict. I absolutely love eating. And the moment I quit training, I go right back to the pizza shop. or the fast food joint. And then I'm happy with where I'm at. So I'm good. Let me eat this 6 cheeseburgers
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible thought process. And I love thinking about this. It's the, I'll just figure out maintenance when I get there,
Yeah.
and it's the thing that I want to do is just take out the wall between maintenance and the actual process itself. It's the same. And having this idea of I'll be able to maintain when I get there, it's pretty much taking how you want to feel and where you want to be and moving it away from where you are now and putting it over there. But the thing about that is when you get there, then that means all valves are released, all foot comes off the pedal. It means here I am, but if you bring that to you where you are now, even from a very scientific standpoint, like the body will change and adapt to the stimulus you provide to it. And to maintain that, you need to maintain the stimulus at the very least. So what I try and advise with some of the guys in the group as well is try and figure out a way that you could, an approach that you would happily maintain for at least 6 months, if not a year. Like,
right.
Don't make it so difficult. That's what I try and to help with the guys. And it's one of the most common processes, because again, with the guy that comes into the gym, we identify his success with the difficulty of his session. We identify with the hard, and it's all over social media and movies and everything. It's the guy that comes into the gym, the woman that comes into the gym, they're built like a shit house, they're fucking shredded, they're dripping in sweat. That's fitness, and it's like that. In reality, the majority of the work, whether you're building muscle or burning body fat, it's done right here when we're just resting, when our body's recovering from this stuff. Like, you don't actually get strong in the gym. You get strong when you rest and recover and the body adapts to that stimulus, right? You don't actually lose weight in the gym. Like between 60 and 90% of all the calories that we burn are burned during NEAT activity. So which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or steps, like up to 90%. And if you're killing yourself in the gym or trying to do this, that, and whatever, and it's not even representing 10% of total energy burning, I mean, everything else, like 60 to 90%, depending on the person, is burned outside of those periods of exercise. Theoretically, we could burn body fat by just being really easy on ourselves and allowing our body to adapt to it at its pace, rather than trying really fucking hard,
Going back a little bit, I want to talk a little bit onto the Fat Daddy Fitness and all that. So how did you get into fitness? Like what made you decide to be into the coaching world and care about your fitness?
That's a good question. Okay, how I started. So when I was young, I was very overweight. So I was about. I'm gonna kind of jar your listeners here a little bit in terms of the metrics. So I was about 130 kilos at my heaviest, and that, I think, in pounds is 200. I think it's close to 300 pounds. I think because it's 2.2 pounds per 260, something like that. Yeah, maybe 280, 290. Something. I have no fucking idea. It's something like that anyway.
You could say 700 pounds, and I'll just take your word for it.
700 pounds, Luke.
Oh man,
what can
you look great.
Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. But yeah, so it was a big young fella, and that was down to, like, I had my own issues that I was going through when I was very young, but I was a very big young boy. And then I got into rugby, and as is the way it is, if you're bigger, you've got a little bit of more of a predisposition to be pushed up. And at one stage there, I was playing at quite a good level. And then I got into weightlifting, and I started to lose a little bit of weight. I started to feel really fucking good about myself. I had a little bit of help from a coach who was able to kind of take me aside and point out some stuff. And that's he was the kind of guy that got me into coaching, because he was able to take me from the path that I was on, which I thought was fine. Like, be heavier, be better at rugby. That's basically what it's all about. And at that level anyway. And that got me into coaching. That pulled me into lifting weights. Then I just got lost. I remembered I went into the weights room to help myself with rugby, and I never left. It was fantastic, but even then I stayed the fat guy who was also really strong, but that kind of justified me in being the fat guy. I was like, it doesn't matter that I'm fat. I'm fucking really strong. It's cool. But that got me into it. It went in, I did my strength and conditioning through that. I went in and coached with rugby from there. This was the very, very start of it, about 17 years ago or so. And then from there, I spent a good bit of time with group coaching for strength and conditioning. And then I moved into general population to try and do some personal training. Did that for a few years. Then I went traveling with my now wife, then girlfriend. So I kind of moved online at that stage a little bit. So I was doing some online coaching, mainly powerlifting coaching, because at this stage, it was when online coaching wasn't cool. So all you could do was deal with Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and they could send you a zip document of an actual file of a video, no sharing or anything, like no Dropbox, no nothing. I could critique their form. And so that was happening. And then when we came back, I gave coaching, personal training, another lark, back into it again. That was about eight years ago. And then I've been slowly transitioning into the kind of mindset element of coaching from there. And that's kind of where I am now. That's the kind of basic journey that I've made. And now I find myself in a position that this is where Fat Daddy Fitness came from. I found myself in a position where my unique failures and my kind of journey in getting me to a place where I can feel good about my body, the way that I look, and be okay with that and have a good relationship with food. I've made every fucking mistake in the book to get here. And uniquely speaking, I can kind of help dads because I just resonate with them. And I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and as soon as she came into the world, everything just kind of clicked into place for me. Like, this is why I want to do this. This is who I want to help, because the impact, if I can help someone and they can, like, help a dad, help a family, that's the way I'm coming from with Fat Daddy Fitness. If I can help a dad be more present for himself and be the best version of himself, then that doesn't make him the best version for his kids. That makes him a superhero. As dads, like, we have this incredible power to make our kids have an amazing day. Like, we can just be present with them, and we can show them how to exist in this world, and we can make their day magic. So that's why I specifically went in to dads. And Fat Daddy Fitness, just the words are the best way that you could describe me. So those 3 things, that's me. I'm fat. I will always identify as a fatty. Always. I'm a dad, and I love fitness. And fitness is the platform that I try and use to help dads navigate this minefield of a world and try and feel a bit better about themselves and get a bit, maybe lose a bit of weight in the process.
That's awesome. I've got 3 boys, and I love how you brought up the superhero thing. And I think, I see a pattern with you and superheroes and all that. So, yeah, nobody's like, we're on video call right now, I don't share the video, but you've got Thor's hammer. What's it called? Mjolnir? Mjolnir. Yep. Right behind you. And I think Thor's up there on your shelf.
Yeah.
I see Arnold from Predator. Oh yeah.
That's right.
The good stuff.
Oh, the good shit, man. Yeah.
I love that feeling of, to my kids, I am a superhero. That's great. And that's a huge reason why I want to get healthy, because all my kids, 13 and under, and I considered myself a couch dad. I say that a lot, or a sideline dad, where I would just watch the kids, but I want to be a part of it. Over the past weekend, my wife and I took the boys to a park, and I would always sit on the bench and watch them and take pictures and, be a purse holder. I've called it before, for my wife. But I actually started climbing on this jungle gym, and it's built for kids, but it's really sturdy. It's, high end, whatever. It was at a school, and there's a ladder that you can climb up all the way to the top. And I climbed all the way up it. And I couldn't believe that I actually was able to do that. It was a tight squeeze, going up the ladder, because there was like this tunnel that you had to crawl through. But I ended up making it, and it felt great. I was able to play with my boys and not just be there to watch. And that was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, man. And this is what it comes down to. I mean, like, with and this is something that, a lot of dads are going to resonate with. We're great at saying, I'm fine. It's fine. It's all good. What we do with that is we just deny the fact that what we're going through is extremely fucking painful. And and feeling like that, like one of the things in one of your episodes I resonated with was when you went to the pool and you caught a reflection of yourself. Do you remember that episode, right? And it's, I don't know what title it was or what number it was, but it was like the internal monologue you had when you caught your own reflection was like, literally, I've had that. And so many dads that I talk to have that as well. And that leaks into if we feel that way, it changes the energy that we are present with our kids. Like, they'll pick up on that shit.
Yeah.
And our duty is to be an example to them. And if we're walking around with that shit and we're, like you said there, like the couch dad, the purse holder, that's what they'll see, and that's what they'll take on as examples, but when you can fucking stand up and be present, it's the thing that I call it is, there's a little analogy that I use, and it's being able to jump off the couch like a fucking athlete when your kids come calling to play, without having that little bit of a, that kind of the dadness, the afternoon dadness of like sitting down on the couch and going straight away. Like,
yeah.
And then and that moment of, you should play, but it's like no energy. And this shit can be so simply remedied by how we're moving through, and how we're eating and how we're moving. Like, energy is a byproduct of more energy, and if we're moving well, not too hard, and not too little, but if we're moving well, then we can just spool up this energy and not be this afternoon dadness, this kind of couch dad thing. And it's amazing the impact. I mean, and I find it so easy to talk to dads about this, because the potential motivation present in a dad is immense. As soon as you start talking about this stuff, they get fucking fired up, man. They're like, fuck yeah. And it's great because the default, for most dads, the default passion emotion is either going to be lust or anger, right? And a little bit of anger is nice because it just spurs them into action, and action begets motivation. And then as long as you're acting within alignment of what you want to achieve with good guidance, then you're gone. And it's stuff like that you just described on the climbing frame. That's fucking, I bet they love that, man.
Oh yeah. And I had a blast, and I'm scared of heights. And it was up there.
Nice.
And I was talking to my middle boy, and like I'm all holding the side, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, it's all right, I'm scared of heights too. So it was cool. But I don't know if you listened. I did an episode where I interviewed my kids recently. I talked to my 13-year-old and asked him what he saw me struggling with, and how he's seen me, and what kind of difference he sees now that I'm actually doing it. And it was definitely eye-opening. And I've referred to it before. My 6-year-old, we went to Niagara Falls, and we were walking around, and my weight, I've got a bad knee because I put this weight on and taken it off and put it back on so much my knee's gone to shit. And every so often I'll need to sit down, and I'm trying to walk around Niagara with the family. I'm holding my 6-year-old's hand, and he looks at me and says, do you need to sit down? And that just crushed me, because like I've said before, he doesn't need to worry about that. He needs to worry about being a 6-year-old boy. He shouldn't have to worry if I'm in pain, or if I need to rest. Those are all wake up calls. And just to be able to move more with the boys. It's not running around. It's not playing, dodgeball or kickball, but just to be able to move with them more has made so much difference. And it's walking to the mailbox and not huffing and puffing and being able to chase. My kid might take off running and I can chase him now. And just that, like, I can feel like a dad, because before I just felt like I was there. And now I feel like a dad. I feel like someone that these boys can look up to, because I'm actually putting in this work and I'm making these changes for better. And it's an amazing feeling. So I really love what you're doing. And I love that you focus on us dads, because you're exactly right. We need to be the superheroes. We need to be the one that the kids can look up to. And the rate I was going, I wouldn't be there for my kids for very long. I would eat myself into a grave, and then the kids are just going to grow up without me. So it's definitely something to consider if people are out there that haven't made that jump to a healthy lifestyle. Get on it. So you can be around for your kids.
100%, man. 100%. I love that. I haven't seen that, or I haven't listened to it. Is the conversation you had with your kids, and I think that's a really incredible break away from the standard that exists right now in terms of, and this is present with dads who want to be, and this can be a really hard thing, and I wonder, if there's going to be dads listening to this, there's going to be dads who resonate with this, because I've come across it quite a bit, and this pain is really present in dads that give a shit, right? But what's also really present is the idea that needs to happen right away and without difficulty. So they do it, they pull even further away, and they make it happen because they don't want to see, they don't want struggle to be apparent, to be apparent to see. They don't want their kids to see them struggling, to see them trying, to see them. But this is the thing. It's this massive misconception of assuming that we need to be strong for our family. All right. That's not the case. We're not strong for them. We're strong because of them. They are our strength. And trying to do this shit, which can be some of the hardest stuff that you'll ever do, without them is mental. It's fucking mental. It's like Caesar walking up into the fucking battlefield, and then before the battle starts, just getting up, sneaking away from his army, and going into fucking to fight the opposing force on his own. It's like, oh, I'll be strong for them. It's like, are you mental? Like, this is where your power comes from, man. This is where it comes from. And what there's that benefit, right? But the benefit of being vulnerable in front of your kids is amazing, because then they see that, and then they see that's okay. So when they struggle, right? So later on, when they're having some kind of struggle with school, or, struggling with girls, or they're struggling with something big, right? Like you've been struggling with, they know it's okay to turn to you and say, man, I'm fucking struggling. And I know it's okay that I can open up to you, because you opened up to me and you showed me that vulnerability and failure are necessary to success. Not only something that needs to be put on pause. I'll just go, and it's the way we were brought up, right? It's the previous generations of fathers, and it's not their fault either. But it's also this it's like a montage. It's like we feel like there's going to be a kick-ass 80s montage where we can disappear into the garage and make this shit happen. Like a kick-ass fucking montage over like 3 minutes. All of the Rocky montages are like fucking
Eye of the Tiger playing.
Fucking Eye of the Tiger. And then you start off really, it's really hard. And then you try really fucking hard, and then you're a superhero by the end of it.
Yeah.
And then, but it's not like that. It's not like that. To make these transformations, man, to make this super change, you got to do it with them. Otherwise, that's why it's so difficult, trying to maintain this false pretense of being super strong and efficient, and just making it look easy, and just being like we identify with the thing that we want to be. We want to be able to run after our kids without being like absolutely out of breath. And It's like, to be able to do that, we need to be out of breath with our kids. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
process. And them seeing you kind of going, or anyone kind of going, coming, bending over and going, oh shit. Fuck, that's fucking brilliant, because they see the struggle. They see it.
Yeah.
And like, and even then, like, it shows that you're raising them right, man, because your 6-year-old turns to you and said, "Hey, Dad, do you want to sit down for a sec?" And as heartbreaking as that is, that's I felt that, man. That sucked. But what a fucking fantastic little human, to just go, "Hey, man, look, let's just sit down for a second."
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic, because when he's older and he sees, was it your daughter?
No, it was a boy.
You
I
have
got 3
boys. Yeah,
boys.
sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and he's gonna be able to grow up, and he's gonna be like, no matter fucking how hard it gets, I can always just sit down and take a knee, because that's what my dad did, and my dad's a fucking superhero, right? Being vulnerable is brilliant. It's a great way to be.
I like how you brought up the let them see that, failure will happen. And I mention that to my boys all the time. It's not if we mess up, it's not if we slip up, it's not if we fail, it's when, because those are the things that they're gonna happen. Nobody's perfect. And you're gonna slip up, you're gonna have struggles, you're gonna have hard times, but it's not the screw up or the mess up that makes you, it's what you do after it. Push forward. And I'm gonna use that superhero term a lot more now. Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah, man, take it. And it's just something that I feel strongly about. Like, I mean, when you think about that moment of, and it's fairly acute for us dads, where kid comes to us, sitting on the couch, they haven't seen us all day. We're there's no screen in front of us, so we're in a place of, I might fall asleep any moment now. A cup of tea or a cup of coffee in hand does nothing to wake you up in that force of tired dadness. And then they come running in going with some kind of a fucking game, and all you want in the world is to leap off that couch. And that is when you become the superhero. You have access to that amount of energy. You make their game exists. You make it double, because you're engaged with them as much as they're engaged in it, and you're sharing it together. And it's just, yeah, like, I mean, if a superhero was someone who is the opposite of all sadness, darkness, and villainous shit in the world, and they're going to get enough of that in the real world, man. Our kids are going to get enough of that bullshit. But if a superhero is the opposite of that, and you can provide those moments for them now and create those memories.
I've never really done stuff as a dad. I had a boy in the Boy Scouts, and my wife would go camping with them, and I never did. It was hard to do, but I was okay with being lazy about it. My wife brought it up to me yesterday that she found a dinosaur camp for our middle child. And I'm like, man, I wish I was 6 to 8 years old so I could go to this dinosaur camp. And she's like, well, he needs an adult. And my eyes just got real big. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I go with him? I'm excited to do that. I wanna go to dinosaur camp.
That sounds amazing. I want to go to a dinosaur camp. My daughter now, she's 3, and she's a three-nager, but it's absolutely incredible how into her games she gets. If you can, she just gets so deep into the imagination of what's going on, and she just gets into it, and she's really vibing. She does this particular face. She'll go, obviously no one can see what I'm doing there, but I've got big bug eyes and I'm kind of shaking a little bit, and she's just in it, and you can, she's just imagining what's going on, and it's fantastic. The imagination. We took her to a dinosaur park. Speaking of dinos, and she loves dinosaurs. She fucking loves them. And she's 3, right? But she was correcting some of the other kids who were running around. The other kids running around, they were like 6 and 7, and they were like, "Look, it's a pterodactyl on the roof there." And they had this park was great because they put models up in the trees and stuff. And this one was a pteranodon, because it had the sail, and Willow was looking up and she goes, "That's not a pterodactyl, it's a pteranodon." Crazy kids. And she said that.
Get your dinosaurs straight.
Yeah, exactly. And the woman who was chaperoning the kind of big kids, she turned around and she goes, that's correct. Yeah, no one else gets that. It's a pteranodon. It's a pterosaur. It's fucking. It was like, Jesus, she's fantastic for shit like that.
That's awesome. When you and I spoke, I sent you a link of, a list of what kind of things you like to talk about and whatnot, just so I can get to know you. And you brought up the book that I've talked about a couple times, Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop. Have you checked that out at all?
I have, and it's so funny when I remember saying it to you when we were chatting back and forth, and you said, "Oh, you should check out this book." And this is just really fucking bizarre to me. So you were like, I think the third person that week that had recommended that book to me, and it's like, there's you all the way over in the States. There was my mother-in-law who recommended to me. And it was a guy who was on the same course as me. We're doing this course, and we met up and started talking. He was like, "Oh, I think you would really like this." So I've listened to it. I have it on audiobook, and it's fucking brilliant. It's a great book.
Yeah,
really, really good.
He's amazing. I've got all his books, and he's actually working on some relationship books that I'm really excited to get my hands on, just to see his take. But he's on Instagram, and he goes live like every day. He answers questions and stuff. So if you don't follow him, check him out.
I'll definitely check that out, because it's one of the ways that I will if I'll rank how good a book is and how much I resonate with it, I'll usually rank it in how many brain tattoos I take from it. And I call them brain tattoos. They're quotes. So I have a little file that I keep on the terabyte here on the hard drive, and I just pepper this stuff into them. This stuff, like if I hear something and I've taken like a good 10 to 15 quotes, and it could be as a sentence or a paragraph that he says, and I've just resonated with it, because I know he pulls a lot from the Stoics, and I'm a massive fan of the Stoics. I really, really like that approach. But yeah, that book was fantastic, and
he also takes that no bullshit approach.
Oh yeah,
like one of the things I quoted a lot, where he's like, "I'm not going to tell you you're a tiger because you're not a tiger."
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it. I've read it and listened to it a handful of times.
Yeah.
10 times probably.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's one of the there's loads in there, but the thing that I kind of take from it is the one of the programs that I've created, and this is one of the ways I work one-on-one with people. It's called the Unfuck Yourself program, and I wrote that before I had ever heard of Gary John Bishop. And then when someone threw the book at me, they're like, "Oh, have you seen this?" They were on the program. They're like, "Oh, have you seen this book?" This was like months ago. I was like, "Oh, like the Gary John Bishop thing." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's this book, Unfuck Yourself." I was like, "Fuck off! There's a book?" He's like, "Yeah, you need to put it on your reading material for the course." I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out." And then that was months ago. And then in the course of a week, yourself, one of the guys from the other course, and my mother-in-law also, I was like, "Well, I've got to read it now. I've got to listen to it.
Have to.
It's got to be done."
Yeah. Have you checked out any of his other stuff?
No, I'm just about to finish this one now.
I guess I think he's got like a couple more coming out within the year, and then he's working on the relationship book. So
nice.
We'll have to get those as well.
Yeah, and I think with mindset, especially with mindset, like a self-help book, there's so much out there. I think it's got to be something that you resonate with in terms of the personality of the guy or the girl who writes it. And like clearly, me and you are going to resonate with that because we resonate with each other. And it's one of those things. Like, I mean, someone else might pick that up and be like, "Jesus, no way. I need a little bit more genteel, of an approach, a bit more of a supportive approach. Whereas this is like lighting a fire under your ass a little bit." But I like that approach. Yep. It's creating discomfort, and if you're gonna be eternally comfortable, then you'll never fucking move. You're only gonna move unless you're uncomfortable, and that discomfort is something that is. Again, this is kind of why I like working with dads, because they can take a couple of shots. So like I'll like if I'm talking to a guy and it's like I can see a moment where I'm like, okay, a little bit of tough love might work here. I'll ask his permission. I'll say, "Listen, dude, do you mind if I just pop the coaching head on for just a quick second?" Cool. "Get off your fucking ass," and I'll just go for it. And I'll say, "It's coming from a place of love, bro. But if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yep.
And then the hat is off, and then it's gone.
Well, they say nobody's ever achieved greatness in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So everybody's always had to step out of their comfort zone to break records and do great things.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, let's think about the greatest things that's happened in our lives, and I know exactly what it's going to be: the birth of our children. And I mean, how fucking hard was that? I mean, tell me that was not the hardest thing you've ever done. Like, just watching that happen, or being present and watching your wife go through that, and then the early days of keeping them alive. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I've got a buddy that's about to have a baby, and I told him it's so much fun.
Were you honest about it, or were you like, well, it's grand, it's cool?
Well, I told him it's so much fun, but you have to make sure they're alive. Like that's the hard
Yeah.
part, is you have to make sure they're alive. You got to keep them alive.
Oh yeah, man.
You got to feed them, clothe them, change them. And even to this day, like when the kids are eating and I'm in the other room, I'm like, boys, you okay? And then they all have to say yes, because I'm terrified they're going to start choking or something. Something
like
in the
there's
other
three
room.
of them, they'd all have to choke at the same time for no one to.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean, though.
It's such a fear.
Yeah, it's when they go quiet, and it's I would imagine with three boys, man. Because I'm a sibling. I've got a younger brother, and we were fucking terrorists, man. We
lots of blood.
Fuck yeah.
We get a lot of. We go through band-aids like crazy. Yeah. Band-aids and bloody noses. Mm-hmm. And our oldest, we just had to repair his front tooth. He broke it. His brother threw a ball at him and broke his tooth.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It's only the beginning.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just hope she's not like me. I hope she turns out to be a little bit more like her mother. Because I can't go through that shit. Jesus, it's like
yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, is there anything that you want to touch on that we weren't able to hit or talk about, or?
Oh man,
you want to go anywhere with that?
I've had a fucking great time. This has been great to kind of talk about some stuff. I think we put the world to right a little bit, attacking the fitness industry. Yeah. I feel good about what we covered. I feel quite good about it.
Well, Shane, how would somebody reach out to you if they wanted to talk to you?
Best way is on Facebook. So you can search Fat Daddy Fitness. There's a page. Okay, but I'm not very active on that page. There's a pinned post on the page that will direct you either to my personal profile, which is where all this. So I go live on there 4 or 5 times a week. I do my very best to help dads in any way I can. So that's my whole thing. We do a Fix Your Dad Back Mobility Cafe on the weekend. We do lives through the week as well. We do little bits and pieces. But the Fat Daddy Fitness group you can search that on Facebook as well. And if you want to jump in on that group, it'd be cool if you do mention that you heard you listened to the podcast here with Luke, because that'd be great, because I can see where you came from and stuff. It'd be cool to touch base with you. But that's the best way to reach me. And obviously you can friend me on Facebook as well, and you can see all the shit that I'm putting out there. So that'd be the kind of best way. That'd be the best way. The Facebook group is totally free. There's any dad can enter into it and can get immediate support and help and a little bit of implementation, like literally straight away. And that's how we try and separate ourselves from the rest of the groups on Facebook. We've got a pretty good activity rate. So there's only a couple of hundred in there, but we've got about 70% activity in there. So 70% of the members are like active, commenting, liking, engaging, viewing. So it's a real good crop of lads. We're in there to help each other, and that's what it's all about. So that's where you can find me.
I'll link all those in the description of this episode for people to be able to get to it easier.
Cool, man.
And well, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed it. I try to check out your videos, your fix and all that. And
cool, man.
You're always asking, put in the chat live or replay. I want to know when you're watching it.
Yeah,
so for me, it's always a replay because it's a little too early for me. But
yeah, we're on different. But that's why I love it, because a lot of the guys I link, I don't know why, I don't know. It's the approach. I think it might be the cursing. It's something that is quite a contrast to you guys on the States. It's like, Jesus, there's a lot of cursing. Yeah. So like, I think it kind of it either you'll distance straight away, or you'll be like, oh yeah, this is quite good. But I like seeing that, because then I'm like, oh, the guys are up, and then everyone from that side of the world starts commenting, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate seeing your comment come up. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for coming on, man. And I look forward to keeping this relationship with you and I going, because I enjoy your group. I really do. I'm in a handful of dad groups, and I'm proud of being a dad, and it's fun, and I can relate to dads. So yeah, thanks for that, man.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. And my absolute pleasure. It's really, really good to connect with you as well. I feel the same way. I think we should, just keep on chatting and shit, because this is the thing. It's like being a dad is a celebration of it's the best version of a man is becoming a dad. You know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't want to say that for anyone out there who is not a dad, or who doesn't plan to, or maybe cannot become a dad and who wants to become a dad. But what I'm saying is, just from my personal thing, it's great to resonate with other guys in that situation, you know, and it's great to support each other through that shit as well, because it's a bit of a fucking epidemic right now, and I maybe that's the wrong word to use right now, but there's a lot of assumption around what it means to be a man, and I think and I think we need to break that precedence by what better way to actually help each other through it. You know, because again, another thing that dads are great at is disbelief and skepticism. You know, straight away it's like, "Oh, honey, I took the car to a new mechanic." You're like, "Wait, does he know what he's talking about?"
Right?
No, does he know my car? I mean, come on, it's like it's natural straight away. But if we have a guy who's been through it and is going through it, it's a little bit easier to kind of help that guy through it as well. You know, so yeah, I agree with you there, Luke. It's something that we can do together, you know, and help each other and help other dads.
Well, again, thanks for coming on. I had a blast.
Yeah, man, this was fun. This was awesome. We didn't even fucking say that word once, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. We for those that are listening, before we started recording, I told him awesome is one of my words, and he's like, oh, it's one of my words too. So, yeah. Now we got to say it. Awesome.
Awesome, man. Fucking awesome podcast.
Shane, thanks for coming on. I had a blast. I love talking about my kids. I had a good time talking about yours, as well as what it is that you do for us dads. So if anybody's interested in reaching Shane, I will post all his information in the description of this episode. If you could, go to Apple Podcast and leave me a rating and a review. If you enjoyed any part of this episode, I would love to hear about it. Also, share the podcast with a friend or a family. Post it on Instagram. Post it on Facebook. Make a tweet, or I'm not sure how Twitter works, but do that over there. I would absolutely love it. Again, don't forget to go to www.lukelosespodcast.com or call the loser line 323-920-LUKE or 5853. You can reach me there or on the website. Send me a message, send me a text, give me a call. Let me know your thoughts, your concerns, whatever's on your mind. Shoot it there. I'd love to hear from you. Again, Jake Simmons and the Little Ghosts. Check them out. They are the music that you're listening to right now. If you like this song, you will love the rest of their music. If you're on Facebook, check out the Trimming the Fat Weight Loss Support Group. Corey, Adam, and myself, we created that group to help people to share our successes, to share our struggles, and we also release a podcast on there. We're supposed to. We haven't for a month, but we're going to get back into it. So get on there and tell us you want to hear more podcasts from us. So that is that. As always, stay positive, do the work, trust the process, and I will see you Friday for my weigh-in.